Hello Oilers fans, Austin here, and in today's video we're going to discuss Oilers training camp because tomorrow, September 17th, camp officially opens with fitness testing, and then some of the players and coaches and members of the management team will do media availabilities, which is very exciting, which means we are this much closer to getting this NHL season started. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 players to keep an eye on in camp, a few players that could be wild cards to make the team, and also a contract watch. Who are players that we need to be paying attention to in camp right now that do need a contract for 2026 and beyond? And of course, I will also list the Oilers preseason schedule and where you can watch every single game. So if you enjoyed today's video, smash that like button, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we continue to climb our way towards 10,000 subscribers. I would love to hit that at some point this season. It is a lofty goal, but if you know any fans that may enjoy my content, please let them know. Share this around. There's lots of stuff planned this season. I cannot wait. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Let's jump into Oilers training camp. Now, don't worry, there's a lot of stuff happening on the screen here. We're going to go one at a time. First things first, the 5 players that I have to watch in training camp. And I'm going to give a few reasons why these specific players I chose. Number 1, Stuart Skinner. Now, Stuart Skinner, of course, the scrutiny around him, his ability to, consistently make saves for this team. What is Stuart Skinner going to bring in training camp? Well, one, it already sounds like he is in the best shape of his life, and everyone's in the best shape of their life when it comes to training camp. However, will the lost weight, the supposed lost weight, lead to better lateral movement? I am very excited to see what Skinner can do in the crease in preseason. I'm excited to see him work with Peter Aubrey, the new goaltending coach for the Oilers, and I'm excited to see if Stuart Skinner, if we can start to see some of those results, see a little bit of results in preseason. Of course, if he gets lit up 5-6 goals a game in the 2 or 3 preseason games that he starts, obviously there's going to be some concerns heading into the regular season, but I'm not too concerned about the goals that he's given up. What I'll be looking for is his movement in the crease. The lateral movement is the big one. And what does he look like now that he has lost a bit of weight? Does he still look big in the crease? This is a player to keep an eye on for numerous reasons throughout the entire year, but Stuart Skinner is my number 1 player to watch in training camp right now. Now, number 2, it's going to be Andrew Mangiapane. A lot of interesting dynamics with this player. A lot of pundits have him maybe playing on the 3rd line in Edmonton. There are some pundits who think he could play the top line with Connor McDavid, especially in the absence of Zach Hyman, because we know Hyman will not be ready for Game 1, which is October 8th against the Calgary Flames. However, in the meantime, Andrew Mangiapane, he brings a ton of speed. Like, this is a guy that can really skate and move his feet. And number 2, he also has a scoring touch. So keep an eye on Andrew Mangiapane, see what he brings to the table in training camp, see what he brings to the table in his preseason action. I don't know who he's going to play with, what the lines are going to look like. We're obviously going to know very, very soon within the next couple of days. But for Andrew Mangiapane, I think a spot next to Connor McDavid on that top line is his to lose. I do think the team is bringing him in, knowing that Zach Hyman is not 100% right now. And I think Andrew Mangiapane has a big opportunity here to maybe get some playing time with the best player on the planet and maybe pot a few goals. So keep an eye on Andrew Mangiapane in training camp. Now, the 3rd player that I want to talk about briefly, and I've talked about him a lot, especially with the rookie showcase, is Matthew Savoie. He is NHL ready, in my opinion. However, he still has to go out there and earn that roster spot. And I do imagine that the coaching staff, we've already had a look with him and Draisaitl together. I do imagine that when Matthew Savoie is in the lineup, he will likely get to play with some of the bigger guns in Edmonton when he's in that lineup. Whatever preseason games he gets to play, keep an eye on Matthew Savoie. He was very, very dynamic, very creative during the rookie showcase, and I'm very excited to see what he can do another year older, another year at that pro level, and ready to take that next step into the NHL. Matthew Savoie, keep an eye on him. And again, it's not always about the production in preseason. We saw guys like Ty Rattie score how many goals in preseason, right? It doesn't translate to regular season success. But for Matthew Savoie, we are looking for a little bit of production in preseason, but also how does he play away from the puck and how does he play with some of Edmonton's better players? I think Matthew Savoie would be absolutely wasted on a 3rd or 4th line role. I think this is a player that is so dynamic that he can earn a spot in that top 6. Let's see if he can do it. Now, the 4th player that I want everyone to pay attention to in training camp is Trent Frederic. Now, a lot of, a lot of eyebrows raised when he signed that big contract extension. Now, I don't think the dollar figure is horrible. I think the length of the contract is a little bit questionable. But for Trent Frederic, he is coming off a high ankle sprain. Now, we saw him in the postseason for Edmonton, and we knew he was not 100%. He could barely move his feet out there. But I found he wasn't ever a net negative defensively. I found he, despite the fact he couldn't really move very well across the ice, Trent Frederic was very good at being a responsible two-way player. Look for him to try and find a little bit of offense as well. This is a player that has and can score goals. He'll be on the penalty kill. He is a player that maybe gets second unit power play time. You might have him as a net front presence. Trent Frederic has a real opportunity here to establish himself as a, hey, I've been in the NHL for a long time. I've played with skilled players in the past. I can do this. I can make my way into the Oilers top 6, at minimum top 9, and really establish my game. Look for Trent Frederic to hit a lot. Look for him to get into a couple fights as well. He does have a mean side to him. This is a player that I'm very excited to watch now that he should be mostly healthy. Hopefully that high ankle sprain is good to go. And then the last player that I think everyone should be paying attention to in preseason and training camp is Vasily Podkolzin. Now, he is in a contract year. He is going to be a restricted free agent, so the Oilers still retain his rights. I could see him getting a 2-year bridge deal because right now, what is he making according to Puckpedia? Let me just quickly scroll. Puckpedia, where is Vasily Podkolzin? Oh my goodness, I just had this on the screen. $1 million. So Vasily Podkolzin, this is a player that has a really wicked shot. He just doesn't use it enough. What I'm looking for from Podkolzin, specifically in preseason, in any action that he gets, whatever games he's in, I want to see him shoot the puck. I know he likes to go into the corners and, play that puck possession style game and try and defer to a guy like Leon. I want Podkolzin to be the guy that when he has the puck on his stick, I want to see him assert himself. I want to see him shoot it. I want to see Podkolzin shoot the puck a ton. Volume shooting. He has a good shot, and I know he has it in him to score 20 goals. I just know it, right? So this is a player that, again, another opportunity knocks for a lot of players, especially for Edmonton's top 6, playing either next to Draisaitl or McDavid. And, these players are also, they're having an impression on the coaches during camp, but also Connor and Leon too, right? Connor and Leon do get a say, whether we like it or not, on who they get to play next to. We know Leon loves Vasily Podkolzin. Let's see what he can do in training camp. Now, speaking of watching, players to watch, let's get to the contract watch. These are the 4 players that I think the Oilers should be prioritizing re-signing, and that we may even see signings before a season even starts. That is obviously number 1, Connor McDavid. Everyone is eagerly awaiting his signing in Edmonton, his extension, whether that's 2, 3, 4 years, 7 years, whatever the case is. We know Connor McDavid is going to extend. We just don't know how long it's going to be and when that extension is going to come. This is all on Connor McDavid's, timeline. And if he likes what he sees in training camp, if he likes what he sees from the team overall, especially some of the players that were outsiders coming into camp, maybe he likes some of the younger players and the way they're able to step up. Maybe Connor McDavid signs that contract before the season starts. Now, according to some media experts and pundits and insiders, some say that McDavid likely won't sign when the season starts. So we'll have to see what happens. I do think Connor McDavid is going to be signed within the next couple of weeks, though. Keep an eye on him. Jake Wallman, same thing. It sounds like the Oilers are working on an extension for him, but the holding pattern right now is just waiting for Connor McDavid's extension. I think Wallman's waiting to see what McDavid gets before the Oilers commit to whatever dollar figure Wallman might want. Brett Kulak, this is a defenseman that maybe he sticks around. He's a good skater. He had a career year last year. This is a player that you don't want to overpay. I like what Brett Kulak brings to the team. At this point, though, he should be seen as a third pairing D-man. And if he wants to be paid as a top 4 D-man, this is a player that maybe you have to say goodbye to at the trade deadline or in free agency. I love Kulak, but we'll see if they give him an extension. And then I already mentioned Podkolzin's contract situation. He's only making $1 million this year. Let's see what he can do in training camp. Let's see what he does throughout the regular season. And as long as it's sustainable, right? If he comes out hot out of the gate and his advanced metrics are great and he's putting the puck in the net, yeah, absolutely give him 4 or 5 years, maybe $3 million per season. However, if he gets on a bit of a shooting heater, like look at Cassian a few years ago where Cassian was shooting 30% and then immediately Pistol Peter Chiarelli is like, you know what? Let's give him a long-term deal, $4 million a year. Yeah, no, we don't want to see that, all right? We need sustainable results from Podkolzin before you commit long-term and big dollars to him. And my light just turned off. I believe Kitty Kitty just turned off the lights. So thank you, Kitty Kitty. I love that. We're leaving this in. I don't even care. Now, the wild cards to make the team. These are players that I don't think have much of a shot to make the team just based on the depth of the team, certain players that are coming into camp. However, these are players that could make the team if they really step up and play to their potential. Number one, Ike Howard. I think we all agree he had a bit of a disappointing rookie showcase for the Oilers. However, it's a rookie showcase. Maybe it wasn't as serious as some people take it. And for Ike Howard, he was the latest player, as in late arriving to camp. He has worked the least amount with the coaching staff right now. So for Ike Howard, look for him to build something, right? They got to build on his game. He's good with the puck. He's a good shooter. He was just trying to do a little bit too much in the rookie showcase. Keep an eye on him in training camp. Keep an eye on him in preseason games. Don't be surprised, though, if Ike Howard is definitely in the AHL when the season starts. But again, he is a wild card to make this team. He has an opportunity here to, clean slate, right? Rookie showcase doesn't matter. It's the games that matter now with the big guns. Let's see what Ike Howard can do. Now, number two, Roby Järventie. The Oilers picked him up a couple years ago in a trade with the Ottawa Senators. Now, Järventie was a pretty highly touted prospect. However, he has dealt with a ton of injuries over the past couple of years. So we'll have to see what he looks like in a healthy state. Hopefully he's healthy. Please, I love Roby Järventie. I think this is a player that has a ton of potential and a ton of upside. And if the Oilers want to embrace a bit of a youth movement, an affordable youth movement as well, to try and keep the Stanley Cup window open, Järventie has an opportunity here. Let's see how he does. Now, the third player we're going to look at, of course, Alec Regula. The Oilers picked him up from the Boston Bruins last season. He is a right shot D-man. And again, this is another player that is dealing with injuries and should be coming into camp healthy. Hopefully, he's pretty healthy. Alec Regula has a chance to be that number 6 or 7 D-man. Now, Ty Emberson, I do think slots in on that third pair when the season starts. So Alec Regula and Troy Stecher, I think those are the two defensemen that are going to be battling each other out for that number 7 spot. And if Regula plays very well, maybe he even gets that number 6 spot. And it's Emberson and Stecher who are on the outside looking in. I like the Oilers' depth when it comes to their defensemen. I still think they need another high-end defenseman to kind of round everything out. But Alec Regula, keep an eye on him on the D side of things. He should be looking pretty good, and hopefully he can push some of the other defensemen in camp for a spot on this roster. Now, number 4, Noah Philp. Noah Philp, of course, got to play a decent amount with Edmonton last season. Now, he wasn't very flashy offensively, but this is a very responsible two-way player. He can play on the penalty kill. He's a big body, and they use him to take face-offs. So for Noah Philp, that fourth-line center position, right now, I think some people have Matthias Janmark slotted as the fourth-line center. If it's between Janmark and Philp, no offense to Matthias Janmark, I would like Noah Philp as that fourth-line center, right? Like, I think a lot of us love Matthias Janmark. We love the janitor here in oil country, but in terms of embracing a younger movement on the team and a more skilled movement on the team and someone that can bring a different type of game, I think Noah Philp brings a different style of game that the team needs. Janmark, it's Janmark, right? We know who Janmark is. Noah Philp, big opportunity here to step into this lineup. And then number 5, this is a player that I really don't think is going to make the team out of camp. However, he is turning heads already. He turned heads last year at the prospect tournament in Penticton. And then this year during the rookie showcase, he also turned a lot of heads. Connor Clattenburg is a heart and soul player. And heart and soul players, even though they can't always produce offense, whether it's goals or assists at the NHL level, sometimes it's just being a certain presence on the ice, a certain presence in that locker room, a presence on the bench with the rest of the group. Connor Clattenburg is a player to keep an eye on. He very well could see himself on the Oilers' fourth line, or even as an extra for the 13th forward when the season starts up with the big club. Keep an eye on Connor Clattenburg. This is an exciting player to watch for various reasons. If you're into the old school style hockey where you think you need your protector, your enforcer, someone that'll go out there and always have your teammates back, and someone that, plays on the edge, as long as he doesn't chase the hits, right? Connor Clattenburg, very interesting. I don't know if Chris Knobloch is going to like that player type. I know for me as a fan, I like that player type. Keep an eye on Clattenburg, all right? Now, when it comes to the schedule for the preseason and what games are on TV and what games are not, well, there's only 2 games that are actually on TV. On September 21st, you have the Split Squad versus the Calgary Flames at 6 p.m. There's 1 game at Rogers Place, 1 game taking place at the Saddle Dome. Of course, both teams are completely split for both sides. On the Oilers' home side, that game is available on Oilers Plus. For the game that is in Calgary, that game is available on the Calgary Flames website for free. So make sure you are watching games for free. I will be doing coverage of the Split Squad home game. So those of you who do not have Oilers Plus, if you don't want to pay for it, I will be doing a live stream commentary, so you can tune into at least my channel. You can listen in, and of course, 880 Ched. You know the drill with 880 Ched in oil country. They're the radio broadcasters for the team. You can also tune into them. But this game will not be on TV. I will be doing a live stream for the home game, though. On September 23rd, the Oilers are in Winnipeg at 6 p.m. Mountain. That game is on Oilers Plus. September 24th, the Oilers are at home against the Seattle Kraken at 7 p.m. Also Oilers Plus. September 26th versus the Winnipeg Jets at 7 p.m. Also Oilers Plus. And then September 28th versus the Vancouver Canucks at 6 p.m. local time here in Alberta. That game will be broadcast on Sportsnet. That is a televised preseason game for your Oilers. October 1st at Seattle at 8 p.m. local. Oh my goodness, a late game in preseason. My goodness gracious. That'll be on Oilers Plus. And then October 3rd at Vancouver at 8 p.m. local time here in Alberta, also on Sportsnet. So only 2 preseason games are officially being broadcast on television, which is Sportsnet. So I think Winnipeg, if you live in the Winnipeg region, maybe that game could be on like the TSN Jets region. I'm not 100% positive. You'll have to double check that. I didn't double check that. But those are my training camp thoughts. Those are my players to watch, the contracts to watch heading into the season and during the season, the wild cards who could make the team. They're on the outside looking in, though, in my opinion. And of course, the actual schedule with times and everything about that. Everything about that. That is how I'm speaking now. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, smash that like button. And as always, tell someone that you love them, all right? Fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.